Hello and namaskaram to all our esteemed viewers. I extend my heartfelt gratitude for your support and for taking the time to engage with our content. For our new viewers and subscribers, a very warm welcome to our community. I'm thrilled that you've joined us, and it is our honor and privilege to spend this time with you. We deeply appreciate you dedicating your valuable time to listen to our insights that will truly enhance the quality of your life. Have you ever heard the saying, don't judge the book by its cover? Or perhaps some of the woke people these days say, don't be judgmental, don't judge people. I really don't understand these statements. Despite these well intended admonitions, the truth remains that we are inherently wired to judge and assess our surroundings, including the people within them. Our internal antennas, senses, and every cell in our bodies are constantly evaluating those around us. This inherent capacity is not unique to just humans. Animals, they too engage in judgment primarily for their safety and survival. While safety is indeed a critical factor for us humans, our judgments encompass a myriad of other considerations: social needs, interactions, approachability, to name a few. People frequently make important decisions based on their assessments of the personality of others. Important decisions like who should babysit our children, or who should we hire as an assistant, or who should we allow within the vicinity of our surroundings. These decisions depend at least partly on how reliable our judgment of the individuals are. And who you decide to marry might depend on how trustworthy and loving you judge your dating partner to be. I will make a separate set of series of videos to talk about the points that a person should be looking at prior to getting into a long-term relationship commitment. People will make better decisions when they are accurately able to judge the personality of others and have the knowledge about the process to accurately judge may help people make some more accurate judgments. Judging a person's character is a nuanced process that goes beyond the superficial observations. By evaluating various indicators, we can gain deeper insights into the person's true nature and build more meaningful connections. Whether for safety, social needs, interpersonal relationships, understanding these traits help us navigate the complexities of human relationships with more clarity and confidence. And the ability to accurately judge personality is a valuable skill that can significantly impact the decisions you make and the relationships you foster. To navigate such complex evaluations, I have put together 15 indicators which I personally used to help me judge a person's character. Now, these you can broadly set across in the professional space, in the social space, or in areas of personal relationships. I know many stories of couples who have lived with each other for their entire life but have yet not figured each other out. I heard a story about a particular couple who looked perfect in all aspects in the societal levels. The husband was always trying to act in front of society as if he was very romantic, madly in love with his wife of 40 plus years, and would always do some silly romantic acts whenever there was like a social gathering or a social event. And one of the close friends of this couple had told us the story that he is a number one cheater in this world. He has been cheating on his wife from the early weeks since they were married. He was a chronic sex addict and a serial cheater who was into younger women. Now, how did we come across this story? We got it through some reliable sources. And I think it is worth mentioning because this is what happens. There are many couples who are not able to even understand each other in spite of them being married for a very long time. This is a classic case. This couple has been married for 40 plus years, but the woman thinks of her husband as a perfect husband for her. You see, the reputation always precedes you. Human beings are apt at hiding their shortcomings and weaknesses, and they're well adept to wearing fake masks and showing a persona that they want others to see and not necessarily who they are. So, the key point here is, how do you identify authenticity? Which is a very critical element for you to understand and determine and judge a person's character. Judgments we make about people may not be always correct. Let me tell you, there have been instances in the recent past that I myself have been flabbergasted about my own judgments of certain peoples, and these were mostly on social media and primarily because of my lack of being able to understand the entire situation aptly, and I fell into the trap of emotional victim card playing of certain women who were playing the card of they were being tortured and they were being victims of certain kind of cyberbullying and things like that. No harm was done to me because the only thing I did was give them a couple of $100, which did not matter much to me at all. But I also realized this as a learning lesson for myself, that never will I ever engage with anybody on social media or help anybody without understanding the entire situation of the matter. Because what happens on social media is it adds another difficult layer is the truth is being said by no one and everybody has partial truth. So before you understand what the real situation is, it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience before you can put together the jigsaw pieces. And I really did not probably comprehend or understand the complexity of certain situations that certain groups of people were engaging on social media. So I have made those mistakes and I've learned my lessons. Let me tell you another story. I have a very close associate. I will call him Fred for this conversation. Fred is an African American. He's in his 40s. He is close to 6 feet and he has a heavy build. He weighs about 275 to 300 pounds. He's not fat, mind you. He's very physically bulk. He works out and he's into training. And so he's one of those muscular guys who has worked out to build a muscular body. And he looks a bit heavy. Do people say that first impression is the last impression? I have tried and tested out a few things using Fred. Most people get intimidated when he walks in or when they see him for the first time. I've had Fred walk on the streets of New York, especially where I'm observing him from far away. And if a woman is walking by herself and if the street is not very crowded, there are very few people around in that area. And if they see Fred walk from the other side, the woman will always, I've noticed, will cross over the road to the other side. Because of his personality and the way he walks and looks, I think the first impression that people get out of Fred is that he's dangerous or he could be one of those criminals, just because of the way he looks, and he's an African American. But in reality, Fred is a teddy bear. His heart is filled with empathy. His moral compass and ethics are strong, and he's a person that I trust and depend on immensely. He has been working for me for more than 7+ years, and Fred is someone that is one of the nicest humans that I've ever met. He's a great husband, father, and great employee, and I'm very lucky to have him. And above all, he's an outstanding citizen. I've also used Fred as a test specimen in my personal social get-togethers, especially when there are little children, children who are less than 2 years old. I want to see how children react to him. And you will be surprised to know that children and dogs have the best sense of humans. They have the 6th or 7th sense that they can smell out of people. And I'm saying this with utmost respect, and I've conducted a lot of such unofficial tests myself using Fred. Children, especially the ages between 6 and 2 years old, I have seen that they very happily go to Fred. When Fred approaches them, they will jump into his arms, or they will have this excited energy, the smile, and they will look all giggly. And he picks them up, and the child seems like they are comfortable when they are around Fred. Of course, you should not try this when the child is in a bad mood prior to that, or they're hungry or they're cranky before you're trying to test this out with somebody. And it's not just with one child, you have to test it out with multiple children in order for you to even come to a conclusion. So just because one child is not going to a person doesn't make that person creepy, or you cannot just assume that there is something wrong with that person. Okay, just a disclaimer here. The two groups of people that I observe and have learned the most from are the elderly, who are, post 60, 70 years of age, or kids who are less than 6 years of age. If you observe them and if you talk to them, you will learn the most from these two groups of people. Appearances can be very misleading, and the way individuals present themselves may be vastly different from their true selves. I'll tell you another example. Dennis Rader, he was also known as the BTK Strangler, was one of the most nefarious serial killers in United States history. Rader led a seemingly average life as a good husband, caring father, and a respectable co-worker. He volunteered at the church, and he earned a reputation as an upstanding citizen. Those who knew him could never have imagined that behind his facade, he was living a sinister double life. Rader, he appeared to fulfill all the societal norms expected of an adult: stable job, family, decent reputation. There are numerous similar tales of serial killers and criminals and child abusers who successfully portray themselves as decent, law-abiding citizens while concealing their darkest secrets and true nature behind a carefully crafted mask. I'm going to now share with you some of the traits, some of the characteristics that I use personally to help me assess a person. These are not in any particular order. I find each one of these traits and characteristics equally important. And depending upon your situation, so there might be some characteristics or traits from this list that might not be applicable if you're looking for a certain engagement with a person at a professional level, or if it is just at a social level. But if you are trying to understand somebody with whom you're going to engage on a constant basis, then I would recommend that you use all these 15 traits and characteristics for assessing a person's character or personality. One is reliability. This is one of the foundational virtues I look for. This is where I'm trying to understand how much can I trust them, how much can I rely on them. Is there consistency in what they're saying versus what they're doing versus what they are assuming that they will do? Do they keep up their promises? Do they fulfill their responsibilities in a timely and considerate way? And do they do things without sometimes taking credit for it? Being reliable is one of the most valuable traits in a person, because this is what will help you assess the intention versus the actual thought process of their act. I'm a big proponent for punctuality and timeliness. I value that a lot. Because I value my own time a lot, I also value the time of others. Number 2, how do they treat people who are not going to benefit them in any way? This is one of the critical things that you should observe in every person that you are going to associate with in any capacity. Because this will really help you understand the hidden traits that they are trying to hide by wearing those facade masks in public. How do they treat the greeter at a store, or a waiter, or somebody who is, like a janitor, or somebody at the front desk at a hotel or bank? How do they treat them is critical to know the real person, especially when no one is watching them. If you were to treat those around you with human virtues, such as friendliness, respect, politeness, love, and loyalty, then you can basically understand that the person has some good qualities which are of value, and there is integrity in that human. How do they behave when they are faced with somebody, like for example, if there's an old lady standing at a crossing and who's struggling to cross the road, do they step up and do they help that person? Do they look at somebody who is in an awkward situation, do they rush to help them? These are some key indicators to understand their empathy levels as well. Number 3, how do they deal with adversity or stressful situation? For example, something suddenly happens that was unforeseen, and it was something not in a positive outcome. You have to observe their reaction or their action. This helps you understand their courage, their ability to manage stress. Do they get distressed? How does stress impact them? This also helps you understand their strength as a person in distressful situations. Do they get upset, angry, aggressive? Do they react badly? Or do they act in a calm way and they think through this logically, analytically, and try to solve the situation? Number 4, this is a little different than the item number 3 I just spoke about. How do they deal with conflict? Conflict can arise in many ways. For instance, it can be a result of goals and interests that are incompatible, personal values and feelings that are misunderstood, or differing methods of reaching a goal. Such situations can occur due to issues like lack of communication, sudden and unpredictable change, differing beliefs and expectations, discrepancies in roles and expectations. When this happens, the amygdala part of the brain that integrates emotions, behavior, and motivation is impacted. A psychologist well known named Daniel Goleman, he says that when a conflict occurs, basically your amygdala gets hijacked. He calls it the amygdala hijacking. This is when your fight versus flight kind of a reaction, or all the hormones get triggered. Our bodies, they respond by releasing hormones. It increases our heart rate, and we do not think rationally most of the times in such situations. It just happens. Goldman suggests that amygdala hijacking can sometimes result in sudden, illogical, and irrational overreaction to the situation. This is a test of how we process this. Do we let go of our ego, emotional distress, aggression? Do we have control over our anger? Do they react or do they respond? This tells a lot about a person. Number 5, very important, their emotional stability. How do they deal with emotional ups and downs? Are they impulsive? Do they have frequent outbursts of anger, aggression? Do they have frequent mood swings? Are there any other key indicators like unstable relationships, multiple breakups, and also the lack of sustaining friendships for a long period of time, lack of good relationships with their own immediate family? These are all indications of emotional instability. Emotional stability is a foundational requirement for a good relationship. Doesn't matter whether it is in your personal space or professional space. If there is a lot of emotional instability in a person, then that person is not very nice to have around you. They will not be able to sustain a healthy, nurturing relationship. Number 6, the character of their closest friends and associates. And I typically pick a count of anywhere between 5 to 8, not more than that. A person can fake their persona in front of you for a long time, but their close friends and associates, they don't have much to gain from faking it. So they will directly or indirectly reveal who they are. And this person will not be too different from them. And you should closely listen to what the inner circle says about him, even in joke. Sometimes they will kid and say, oh, I was just kidding. But do not take things in a kiddish way, because it is an inherent quality of human beings. They're trying to give indications to a person who they think might be in trouble, and they're giving you slight hints. So be very carefully listening to what the inner circle is trying to tell you about this person. In many cases, especially in the powerful positions, in the business circles or in circles of politics, we also can judge them by the enemies they have. So if they have many evil people as their enemies, I take that as an indication that they would be doing something right. Number 7, this one, I have never heard any psychiatrist or psychologist mention this in any of their lectures. I use this as a key indication of understanding somebody's personality. Comic sense. This is a very subtle way to understand their level of evilness. We all have a little bit of evil in us. Whether we like to admit or not, we have a little bit of scorpion in us that we keep in control. And also the ferociousness of that scorpion is about the personality trait. For me, if a person finds it funny in the misery of another human or animal, then it is a sign of them having a larger scorpion within them that they are really trying to keep it tamed. When I watch cartoons, I love cartoons. I laugh. When I'm watching a Tom and Jerry, or if I'm watching Looney Tunes, I absolutely love the fights that those cartoon characters are having, irrespective of how bad some of those situations they show. That's a fake situation. But one of the things that I found, there used to be a show called America's Funniest Videos. And I found that show very repelling, because it used to show incidents where people are falling, or they're getting hurt, the children are getting hurt, or animals are getting hurt. And they used to consider those as funny situations. When I watch people enjoying shows like that, I find it very difficult to comprehend, what kind of a personality they might be having. If anybody is laughing at the pain and suffering of another adult or at the pain and suffering of animals, that is a no-no for me. Number 8, what are their top 5 habits? What are the things that they do for their own well-being, their self-growth, and what are some of the things that they engage in that they enjoy doing? If somebody tells you they don't read, they don't have any hobbies, or they don't, if they're not physically fit, or they don't seem like they are all there mentally, I would avoid people like that. I have to understand and know the good habits that a person has. Number 9, what is their happiness quotient? Now, this one is very difficult to understand without having, an extended communications or interactions with an individual. One of the key things to understand is how comfortable are they in their own skin. What are their esteem levels, and what are the? It's not just about trying to portray confidence or trying to show a personality of likability. This is about how happy do they look, how happy do they seem in their life. Number 10, which is the exact opposite of number 9, their anger issues and aggression. Someone who has frequent anger issues, anger bouts, or they have aggression, shows that they have issues of emotional stability. And the more frequently they are not able to control this, and the more frequently they are letting it out, especially in public spaces, and they might come back and apologize for it. But if you see this happening multiple times, it's a bad sign. I would stay away from such people. Number 11, are they a truth teller? What level of honesty do they have? This is something that I've acquired through education, knowledge, and experience. And I would highly recommend that you try to understand the behavioral traits of a person when they are talking with you, because this will help you kind of, understand the level of dishonesty in a person. It is completely up to you to understand what level of dishonesty you're willing to let go in a certain situation. For me, especially if somebody is within my inner circle, whether it is at a professional level or at a personal level, I give a lot of value to honesty because integrity is very important to me. Number 12, their demeanor. And what I mean by this is, there are some people who are too much into themselves. They are like, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but they give too much importance to superficial things. They are too much into branded stuff. They are constantly trying to show their social status. They are trying to constantly within, how they are dressing up, or how they're too much into themselves, and they're very superficial in their conduct. This is very important, again, something that you need to understand by studying human nature, by understanding behavioral sciences. It really makes you kind of peel those layers of the fake facade. Number 13, their speech. Words are powerful. I find that words can make or break you. Words are worse than weapons. If you are going to stab somebody in the heart, that pain happens only once and it is healed. But words have the power to sting you so badly that it can mentally damage you and it can sting you for life. So I give a lot of importance to how somebody talks, not just when they're observed, but also when nobody's looking at them, or when they are not aware that they are being watched. The quality of words, irrespective of how bad the situation is, how much you are triggered internally, or how much you're trying to control your anger and aggression, losing control of words is something that you should not be allowing, especially in professional or personal spaces or on social media. This is where the communication skills, understanding effective communication skills, how to manage and handle this is an acquired skill. It doesn't come naturally to everyone, and very few people have this. I'm not just necessarily talking about diplomacy. Diplomacy is very good to have, but this is about being able to communicate without being hurtful, or without being mean, or without trying to sting someone. Number 14, their relationship equation with their immediate family. This includes their parents, their aunts, uncles, their cousins, their siblings, the spouses of their siblings, and also how their past relationships ended and why it ended. Generally, people do not tell the truth. They will try to always portray as if they were the victim in a relationship that broke. So it is up to you how you are going to find out through acquaintances or through private detectives as to what happened, and you will get the truth from outside sources more than the person in most cases. The last but not the least, their wisdom and their knowledge, and how they're able to translate it, and what level is their emotional intelligence and their emotional quotient. Judge the wisdom of a person through conversations, deep conversations about life, philosophy, about subjects that will bring out those topics of discussion. You have to take time to understand somebody's wisdom. And over a period of time, you will be able to understand their level of emotional equation and their emotional intelligence levels, which is extremely important for sustaining a long-term relationship. Judging a person's character is a nuanced process that goes beyond the superficial observations. By evaluating these 15 indicators, you can gain deep insights into a person's true nature, and it will help you build more meaningful and fulfilling connections. Whether it is for social needs, interpersonal relationships, or for professional interactions, understanding these traits will help you navigate the complexities of human relationships with greater clarity and confidence. And with that beautiful thought, I would like to chant my favorite mantra, Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. The translation of which means, may all living beings on our planet Earth be happy and free. And with that beautiful thought, I would like to bid you farewell. Namaskaram, goodbye, and thank you. One of our other videos that I believe you will enjoy to watch. Please continue to watch our videos and gain insights to better the quality of your life.